Recently I've been seeing a lot of tutorials where people are complaining about the Array Modifier having some complications in Blender version 2.66, maybe some of the earlier versions, but the majority of the complaints came from people making tutorials and stuff like version 2.5. The most recent issue that I've seen is with the tutorial of making gears and cogs. So I'm gonna pretty much mimic a tutorial that's out there, but I'm gonna show everybody how to do it with 2.66 by addressing some of the newer modifications, or what some of those modifications do, like the array, and why it doesn't quite work the way that it used to. So you want to delete the default cube that's there. Just go ahead and hit delete. And we want to add a mesh circle. Hit 7 on your number pad, it'll take you to a top view. If you don't happen to have a number pad, just go to view and top. We want to change our vertices to 24, and that will give us a nice even gear when we're trying to make one particular section and then use the array modifier to complete the circle of the gear. So hit your S key, and we're going to scale it down. That'll be the inside of your gear. You want to go into edit mode and hit E. And when you move your mouse, it kind of does this weird extruding thing. You're basically just making your gear into a 3D property. So don't click anything, hit escape, and then hit S. And we're going to change the size of the extrusion. I'll probably bring it. I think that looks okay. Now remember that this is broken into 24 different sections, so hit A to deselect, and then your Alt tab and right click. We want to delete this line, so hit X and edge loop. That'll remove that line for us. Hit your A tab, you want to deselect that, and now hit B. We want to select all of that and then B again. Select all of that. Hit your X key and delete vertices. That'll leave us with this selection right here. So hit A, it'll select all of it, and then E. Now what we're doing is creating the height of the gear. Now this is only going to be half of the height, so don't make your gear, you know, something that tall and ridiculous looking, unless that's what you're going for. Because we all like ridiculous looking gears. So click and that looks pretty good. Deselect, hit A, hold in Control and kind of just draw around here to select those 4 points. Same thing, hit Control, those 4 points, these points down here at the bottom, and then these points at the bottom. And hit X. And we want to get rid of the faces. This is going to hollow out the object, so it'll make it easier for us to actually create the cog itself. Now we want to add a modifier, and we're going to add a mirror. But we want it to mirror on the Z-axis and not the Y. Go ahead and select clipping so you have merge clipping and vertex grow selected. And you can see the kind of effect that it gives. Holding Control, select these 4 points, and hit E to extrude. And here we're going to make the peg of your gear. With it still selected, hit S. We're going to bring in the size. And you can see it kind of makes it, well, it slopes down, so we need to fix that. I think that's good enough. Hit A. Okay, so we're getting close. Here is where the problem comes in. Go to Add, Modifier, and Array. We want to hit Object Offset and uncheck Relative Offset. Go back into Object Mode, Add, Empty, Plain Access. Now, it used to be that you could actually just add a straight empty. You didn't have to select anything here. You could just add empty, and it would make everything pretty easy, and it would tell the computer to pretty much just duplicate this and make the array that you want. 2.66 gives you more options, but that being said, it takes away some of the automatic settings. So we want to go back over to the circle, and if we hit R, you can see it's going to rotate to that extent. And that's what we want to do, but we want to duplicate this so that it kind of just goes around the circle and fills itself in. But in order to do that, we need to link this object to this empty, so it actually has something to rotate around. So under Object Offset, we want to link it to the empty. Well, you can see what that does to the, we have our count set to 2, so that means we have 2 of these things. And it does this weird thing where it makes the next one much larger, and it's just kind of a weird offset. It's really annoying, and it's confusing a lot of people. So undo that by hitting Control-Z. Select your circle and go over to the object properties. And you see the location, the rotation, and the scale. Location, rotation all set to 0, but the scale is set to 0.346. If we go to our empty, the scale is set to 1. The location and the rotation are all set to 0. We need to make this match our circle, or the object that we have created. So, 0.346. 0.346. And now we can see that's taken care of that. We don't have a weird offset of a massive gear piece. Select the modifier and link it back to your empty if it's not already. Hit R and it'll rotate. Now here's another nifty issue where you used to be able to just offset your object and then up the count, and it would save those offset properties, and it would connect your piece. It doesn't do that anymore because it doesn't have those automatic settings. So get it out here to about as close as you can. And then go back over to your object property. And you can see this is set to 59.61. This actually needs to be 60. Because we created a section of 4 pieces out of 24, we need 6 of these cog pieces to be able to create a full 360 degrees. And it needs to be 60 degrees to do that. So now with that set to 60 degrees, you can up your count, and there you go.